Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Brockopp side. El Camino, a Breaking Bad movie, was directed by Vince Gilligan and takes place immediately where the ending of Breaking Bad left off, with Jesse escaping the neo-Nazi camp in El Camino as he's trying to escape his past, move on with his life, and, not get arrested and stuff. So let me just begin by saying that Breaking Bad is my all-time favorite TV show. I've probably rewatched it more times than any other show I've ever rewatched. I probably get into it about once a year, so of course I was incredibly excited for this movie to be coming out because it was going to be a sequel to finally give us some closure on Jesse Pinkman's story because, the final episode of Breaking Bad focused mainly on Walter White's story and concluded that very nicely, with him dying and all that. But it still left a lot of fans wondering, well, what the hell happened to Jesse after he escapes in the El Camino? And the movie does exactly that with the same masterful filmmaking and storytelling abilities that the Breaking Bad show had, but this time translating it into a 2-hour movie, which was just absolutely fantastic and I loved every second of it. We get to see just how truly awful Jesse's situation was, being a prisoner of these neo-Nazis, being forced to cook meth in their garage and things like that. And this is done primarily through a series of flashbacks that are spread out throughout the movie, seeing some moments we didn't get to see a whole lot of in the show, like just how truly awful Uncle Jack and company treated Jesse, giving him the hose and things like that. And in fact, one of the most emotional and powerful scenes in the movie comes from one of these flashbacks featuring a character I would have most certainly not expected. Aaron Paul seamlessly slips back into the role of Jesse Pinkman. It feels like absolutely no time has passed between the ending of Breaking Bad 6 years ago and today with El Camino. He's great at playing this now scarred and heavily damaged Jesse thanks to the events of the final season of the show, but he also doesn't forget about bringing that classic Jesse Pinkman sense of humor back, and much like the show itself, it's got some kinda dark, humorous moments that you feel like you shouldn't be laughing at, but the show is structured so you really want to laugh at those moments, and just some genuine humor there as well, including some moments from Badger and Skinny Pete, who come back and reprise their roles as well, and they also slip back into these roles seamlessly, and it was just great to see these two characters back as well, and this movie also just further proves how great of friends Badger and Skinny Pete truly are. I mean, if you think your friends are great, you need to ask yourself, would they go to the lengths to help you like they did with Jesse in this movie? If the answer is no, you may need to reevaluate your friendships. And much like the show itself, this movie is beautifully shot with some fantastic compositions and those creative POV shots, as well as some of those musical montages that you expect from the show. So it took all these great technical elements from the show and translated it perfectly into this 2-hour movie. And much like Breaking Bad, the movie is also a little bit of a slow burn, but the kind of slow burn that's so masterfully done like the show, where you're still hooked and intrigued throughout the entire thing, so that works really, really well here. There's also a few nods, a little bit of fan service throughout the movie as well, but it doesn't feel forced, it actually feels natural, and it would make sense to have these moments in the movie. It's not just there to make people go, OMG, there's that thing from that episode, and there's that character, oh my gosh! So at the end of the day, this movie accomplishes exactly what it needed to do, which was finally wrap up Jesse's story after 6 years of the show being over. We finally get some closure on what happened to this guy after he drives away in the El Camino, and it's done really well. It wraps up things so nicely. You get to see Jesse finally get some closure, not just with the story, but with himself, which was just fantastic. I still can't believe they managed to shoot this entire movie in secret. I mean, they even shot the thing in New Mexico like they did with the show, and yet it never got out until like a few months ago that this movie was happening. But you know what? This movie was just a really pleasant surprise because of that, and well, I think that's exactly what we needed, was just a nice pleasant surprise to finish up Breaking Bad where it left off, give us some closure on one of the most important characters of the show, and just give us a little bit of that Breaking Bad magic one more time, except for Better Call Saul, which is still going, so if you still want some of that magic, but you know what I'm talking about. So all in all, El Camino, a Breaking Bad movie, was absolutely fantastic and was exactly what it needed to be. Now, I don't really do ratings on this channel, but for this movie, I'm gonna give it an exception. So for El Camino, I'm gonna give this movie a yeah bitch out of 10. And that's pretty good. So, those are my thoughts on El Camino, a Breaking Bad movie. If you guys have seen this movie, or if you intend to, I mean, it's on Netflix, you can literally watch it anytime you want to. But anyway, if you guys have seen this movie, then type that down below, and we'll see you on the Brockopp side.